Today's video is talking about replacing the radiator in a GM 4106 bus, probably very similar to other buses that were made around the same year, the other models. On the right here is probably the original radiator that came with the bus. The bus has been repowered with 6V92 turbo and an automatic transmission. Those two items add significant cooling load to the system. So even when this radiator was new, it probably did not have the cooling capacity that is now required. I don't have enough seat time in the bus and operating time to know whether or not there were cooling issues. I have not driven the bus a whole lot. This radiator did not leak, surprisingly, but when I got the bus, it was equipped with a misting system, which was not connected, but it was on there. So you can tell by looking at the condition of the radiator and the fins how badly deteriorated. This might be the good side, and this would be the bad side. So I asked around on the forums, what's the best option? Is there perhaps a modern plug-and-play radiator that would fit some other semi-truck application or something like that? And not really. So what I did was I took the radiator apart and I went to a local radiator shop and they made the new core, which is on the left here. So the physical sizes of the cores are identical except for the width dimension right here. This is about 1/4 inch thicker than the old one. Additionally, the old radiator has 247 tubes and the new radiator has 270. And they're in a slightly different layout, which is why the core is a little bit thicker. So there's about a 10% increase in the quantity of tubes. The radiator guy is telling me that this new radiator will give about 20% more cooling. And the reason is the fins. The old fins go across, and I don't know how to describe it, but that's what they look like, and the new fins look more like a modern radiator. So I guess that's where the magic is in terms of additional cooling. So the other thing is that these tubes here, these things were a lot of them were corroded or full of junk. I just tried to shine a flashlight through them. I knew I wasn't going to clean them, so I really didn't pay attention. But I assume the flow in this was greatly reduced. I do have to drill all of the holes, 42 holes top, 42 holes bottom, in the new radiator. That was agreed upon when I placed the order. So I got to do that. That's not a big deal. This top sheet is copper, so it should drill pretty easily. And it just bolts together. The other pieces of the radiator are over here. This is one of the side frames. This is the one with the latch on it. And this is the hinge side. So I sandblasted and painted these to clean them up. It does fit. This is where the wider radiator goes, the wider core, no problems there. I went ahead and I made new gaskets out of sheet gasket, Felpro 1/8 inch thick cork and rubber. Used a punch on that. These are all of the bars for bolting together. I cleaned those up, painted those. These are the end bars. And then these are the tanks. So the only place that this radiator leaked was out of the bottom outlet around this. And as you can see, the previous owner used some JB weld or something to do a repair. I initially searched for new tanks because I was concerned about this. And those are basically not attainable. So I was going to, this is the bottom tank, I was going to make this one out of stainless. This is the top tank. Now, these tanks are made out of copper. This is a formed copper sheet. So these things are in like perfect condition. And on the top, this outlet is actually a cast copper or brass fitting, as you can see by the color on it. It's brazed in place. They have it where it's connected here. There's a spot weld piece here. You can see right there. So that was all good, but I knew I had seen some pitting on this. Well, for some reason, the bottom tank, which is also copper, it's a little bit more beat up, for some reason uses a cast iron outlet. So this piece here, which is all factory, is cast iron. There is some corrosion on the outside, some pitting. The inside is pretty clean. The outside neck where the hose clamp goes is in pretty good shape. And then when I stick my hand in here, I don't feel any kind of a crack or any stuff growing. So this had just a tiny weep hole. I don't even know where it is, somewhere around here. That was the only leak in the whole system. So what I did was I went over this with a needle descaler carefully, just to get off any loose material like that. And then I'm going to give it another thin coat of JB Weld or some kind of radiator sealer compound to, just to keep it from leaking. The system only works at, I believe, 5 psi. So it's really not under a tremendous amount of pressure. I don't know why they went with cast iron on the bottom, but it's way more difficult to try and do a weld or a braze repair. And now that it has all of this really hard stuff on it, rather than trying to take this off, I'm just going to put another little coat on. It looks bad, but it seems like it was done kind of in a workmanship-like manner. So these just bolt on. These are the end plates that go on like that. These are the plates that go on like this. And then there are the thicker plates here. These are about 3/8. These are maybe 3/16. This goes underneath and sandwiches the flange of the core up under there. So I will actually put this together as I'm drilling. Drill a hole, put a bolt through, and work my way so I don't get any cumulative error. And I'll actually use this steel as a drill template, drill right through. So that's basically it. You got the bottom tank, the top tank. You have all these bars, and all the bars are identical except for the thickness. These end bars are pretty much identical, and you just match the gasket, and hopefully it'll go back together. I'll go ahead and make a video once I get it back together. See how it goes.